really good strides at this point. So as you see today, they're out there running around. So right now we're lucky. Hopefully we stay that way.
Getting Scooty back to offset the guys you lost, how much does that sort of ease the adjustment?
Yeah, I mean, we need Scooty. We need his voice. We need his toughness. We need his shooting ability. We need his experience. So anytime you can get that much of an opportunity to play somebody like that, it's helping your team.
When you look at the loss of Nora Fernandez and then the additions of Butler and BC, big picture, what are your expectations?
Well, I was mentioning this today at the other luncheon we were at today. We have 3 guys who did not play for us last year, but that have great college basketball experience in Scooty, Dalton Pepper, and Jake O'Brien. So while we are missing Juan and Ramon and Mike Eric, we also have these 3 guys who, while they're not all that familiar in terms of Jake, and then a little bit less, a little more familiar with Dalton, and a lot familiar with Scooty, what we're doing, it's they haven't played in a year. So that's going to be interesting to see how they make that adjustment.
When you have a player like Pepper who was in your gym last year but not able to play, what can you pick up about him in that year?
Yeah, you can see a lot, although that's about the hardest thing I think these kids do is to sit out a year. They go to a place, they come and transfer to another, and you have to sit out. There's no instant gratification, satisfaction. You're kind of in limbo. I think it's really a tough year to spend. So I think once the summertime, actually last year at the end of the year when Juan and Ramon and Mike were no longer practicing with us, we got a sense and a feel that, okay, now it's a whole different world for Dalton. And I think he's gotten better and better over the last couple of weeks, too. I think he's starting to understand really what his skill set is going to be in order to help us. Like rebounding, for example. We need him to rebound the volleys. Not just a scorer, he needs to be a defender or a rebounder.
Fran, who's your starting lineup at this point?
Yeah, I don't know, Keith. I think you can probably pencil in Wyatt, you're going to pencil in Hollis Jefferson, you're probably going to pencil in Scooty, you're going to pencil in Anthony Lee because of his experience there. And after that, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Will Cummings has a shot, Jake O'Brien has a shot, TJ Blue has a shot. Dingle and DeCozy are doing a good job in terms of learning what it is we're doing. So, and then I wouldn't be afraid to play Watson or McDonald at this point either. So I think I've covered everybody. If I missed anybody, yeah.
It's a lot of names, you
A
know.
lot of political correctness too. Thinking about running for office later.
It's a lot of names. You just talk about this team's depth. It seems that you guys have an incredible amount of depth.
We do have depth. This is the deepest we've been, I think, since I've been at Temple. And so it'll be interesting. I'm going to have to manage a lot of minutes out there, and so that will be our toughest chore as a basketball staff. Although those things have a way of handling themselves. They work themselves out.
Coach, all that depth, is there enough points to go around, enough points to be scored for the guys that know how to switch with basketball?
Well, certainly the thought is that Khalif Wyatt will be our leading scorer, so we pretty much know that he will be in the teens, and I don't think he can get into the 20s. I don't think the opposition's going to let him get into the 20s. If he does, that'll be great for him, but yeah, I think there is. We'll be hopefully very balanced. It's not like we're going to have a bunch of guys in double figures, though. I think that's, if we get ourselves in the 70s and 80s, that'll be terrific. I don't know the opposition's going to let us do that.
The way last year ended, does it make you think anything, I mean, with a lot of priority, the way it finished, does it make you think at all about maybe changing the direction or something like that, or just not putting so much emphasis there?
Emphasis on?
You know, or maybe other people put that emphasis on.
Yeah, I think we're trying our best to be the best team we can be. I was very disappointed at how we played in stretches against UMass. That was a tough time for us. We needed to get out of that first round of our Atlantic 10 tournament. That was a big thing. And then, you know, we had our chances to play well against South Florida. We did a decent job on defense the way the game unfolded. We did a poor job on offense, especially in the first half when we had many more opportunities to put some space between us and them. To answer your question, are we thinking about it? Is it helping us motivationally? Yeah, it is, because we finished poorly and we don't ever want to do that again.
It seems like you have a few different options at point guard between Khalif and Will and TJ. Can you talk about the differences in their game and what they each individually bring to the table?
Yeah, there are 3 very different approaches, really, to be honest. Khalif is, he's got more knack for the game than anybody, as anybody I've ever coached. But he's not the speed and quickness kind of guy. Will has great speed and quickness, and we're going to have to use that. We're going to push it up the floor a little bit when he's in the game and take advantage of that. And I might have to put up with some turnovers that he throws up. And then a guy like TJ is just a solid kick. He may not have the speed and quickness of Will, or the craftiness of Khalif, but he takes very, very good care of the ball. Every single day we go over the practice stats, and it's 5-1, it's 6-2. It's never the opposite. And those are valuable, very, very valuable for us.
In the last year in the A-10, think about that leading.
Yeah, I'm not ODing on it. There's some bittersweet aspects to it. We're leaving a conference that we have great relationships with. All of those teams, we've had great rivalries over the years, and it's just one of those things that happens in college sports and in life. Change happens, and we have to react to that. We're going to be in the Atlantic 10. We're going to have 2 terrific basketball programs joining us. So it's going to be a hell of a year in the Atlantic 10 as our last year in it. And then when that's over, we will set our sights on the Big East and see what we can do there.
Khalif is one of the older guys on this team. Do you think he's moved on from everything that happened at Atlantic City?
I do. I certainly do. He's paid a very steep price, in all honesty. One of those things that happens to you, and he's paid that price. He's moved on, and he's done a lot of really good things with the trouble that he got himself in.
Were you surprised there was no suspension?
Suspension.
Yeah, were you surprised there was no suspension to Khalif?
Suspended by who?
Were you surprised in general? Just that.
Well, I mean, am I surprised at myself that I haven't suspended him? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like NCAA or anyone else?
Oh, no, it's really had nothing to do with the NCAA, to be honest with you. They weren't going there.
You're surprising yourself?
Am I surprised at myself? No, because we talked long and hard about it. And, we've dealt with that issue, and I think Khalif has done a really good job with it. And we're past it.
As you're aware, in the summer, there was a poll by your peers, and you ended up as the most underrated coach in Division I basketball. And there was a quote from your own summer. But why do you think you're perceived that way by your peers?
Well, I think I'm understated, and it's really nice of my peers to say that, but I like the understated nature of my personality. It's what I do. You're not getting a whole lot of sizzle. I hope you're getting a lot of substance. So I appreciate that, but they didn't need to do that. And then when they throw the ball up the first time against Kent State at noon on November the 13th, I'm going to be sitting there saying, oh man, I am the most underrated coach. I mean, a damn thing. And there's a lot of really good basketball coaches out there. I think that's what I'm so impressed with my profession. I'm really looking forward to coaching against the guy that can't coach. In my 23 years, I've faced none of them. My guess is, however much longer I last, I won't face any of them.
Fran, with all this depth that we referred to, is the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges early in the year is finding those right combinations because you have so many options?
Absolutely, absolutely. We did it last weekend trying to scrimmage with Niagara, and I thought Niagara really did a better job than we did, but we were doing a lot of that, trying to probe and think about how we were going to play with different combinations of guys. We're going to play zone with this group, or we're going to push the ball with that group. So it'll be a lot of feel as you go along here, feel your way as you go along, but we'll see how that all works out. But again, those things, I would say at the end of the game, we're going to be the top 5 players on our program are going to be on the court, finishing up, hopefully, our share of wins.
With regard to the rotation in the depth, do you, as this goes on, you sort of work things out and try different things, do you hope to sort of narrow the rotation, or are you okay with keeping it wide for all seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to play. I say this all the time. I wish I had 10 guys on my team. They all played 20 minutes. They all had 10 points a game. Everybody'd be happy. We'd be scoring 100. We did most of the games, if not all of them. It'd be great. That's how life is. You got to mix and match. You got to pick and choose about what you're going to do. But the rotations will figure themselves out. The players will figure it out, and we'll be okay with it. But it's going to take a little bit of time.
What else could he allow you to do defensively that you just couldn't do without him?
Yeah, I think he's just got a way about him. He's got a toughness about him. He has no fear, and so he'll get rebounds that we didn't get. He'll be more physical on the opposition that maybe we weren't at different times last year. And then he also, on the other end, he adds the jump shooting ability that's going to be something we're going to need.
Coach, last year you were a little thin in the front court at times, kind of had some depth with Jake and Devontae. Just talk about how it's a big win for you guys.
Yeah, I think that we're bigger, longer than we've been in a while. And when Mike Eric was out, we were really sort of small and not real girthy. I mean, we've gotten some girth. Great Jake is a fifth-year guy. And while Devontae is not girthy, he's got great length. He gets his hands on a lot of balls. So, and he's coming on each and every day. He's making great progress. So, and I wouldn't be afraid at some juncture of the game to play with Scooty and Raleigh as your 4 and 5 men. We could get away with that against some teams. And we might do that at end of games as well.
What have you seen from Danny Dingo so far?
Yeah, he's a really good basketball player. Very competitive kid. Terrific guy. Shooting better as the weeks have gone on here. So that was probably the weakest part of his game, and now is becoming not so weak. I think he's really starting to make shots. So, he sat out a couple of days, almost a full week, with a little bit of a knee issue, but he seems to be over it, and he's really going to be a very good college basketball player.
What's the strongest part of his game then?
Knowledge of the game. I think his feel for the game, his IQ is very good. He's got
Do
great length too.
you see any similarities between him and Scooty, just because of like the versatility, you can kind of go inside out a little bit?
Yeah, I do. There are some. I think I would say to you, Daniel has a different. He's got probably more skills than Scooty in terms of ball handling and passing. Scooty will make good decisions because he knows his limitations, while Daniel doesn't have as many limitations, and he's a freshman, so he's going to try to do a little bit too much too soon. But that's one of those things you live with.
Watson has that wingspan, I guess 92, 94 inches. I mean,
It's scary. I mean, he just gets his hands on a lot of balls, and he frustrates some of our guys sometimes. They think they're open for a layup, and all of a sudden this hand comes out of nowhere and gets a piece of the ball or blocks a shot.
Did you, when Pepper got here, after kind of being in and out of action at West Virginia, did you feel like you had to rebuild his confidence in it?
I didn't think that much about that. I talked with the West Virginia guys a lot, and Pep is so quiet. He's not going to exude this confidence, certainly in his talk. But there's a confidence that he has in basketball. He knows what his limitations are. He knows what he doesn't go on. No, I never felt that. And I'm kind of one of those guys that I'm going to get on you a little bit in practice, and I'm going to talk about it afterwards. At this point, I haven't talked to him too much. He's back to where he needs to be. And I will tell you this, that I've yelled at him a few times for not shooting him. So getting to make shots is one thing. To get shots is quite another. You got to do a good job of getting shots, and he is getting at that point where he's getting a number of shots. I would like to see him rebound.
talking to Khalif this summer, he said he was more afraid to talk to you than his own mom after that incident. Was pleasantly surprised that you were very calm and just basically wanted to see if he was okay. What made you decide to kind of treat him that way after he called you?
Well, I've answered this a lot, and I'm gonna, hopefully this will be the last question I take of it. And here's what I would say to you. It would be great, just like I wish I had 10 players and they all played the same and we won a lot of games and all that. It would be great if everybody was perfect all the time. We're not. So he had an indiscretion. He had a misstep. He dealt with it. We dealt with it. What am I going to do? Yell and scream at him? He needed my care and attention at that point. He didn't need my yelling and screaming at him and fussing and cussing. I needed somebody to understand that he knew better than anybody did that he had this indiscretion. So that's how I saw it. We're all vulnerable. We all make mistakes. All of us are not.
You guys have always liked doing the scrimmages as opposed to exhibitions. Do you like it because of the situational work you can do and talking to the staff saying, hey, let's go 5 minutes of zone, let's do this. And what have you seen, what did you see against Niagara specifically? What did you want to work on? What did you see, how did you see the guys respond?